Hey guys, today I want to talk about if you don't prep, you're prepping to fail. And I want to talk about this one because somebody mentioned that the other day. They put it in one of the comments, and I thought that was a great comment, by the way. If you don't prep, you're prepping to fail. Think about that for a second. We had a lot of people coming over here prepping to fail. And we had that guy that I did the video on a while back, and he never got off the launch pad. Now, the guy says he's traveled all over the place and everything. You think you would have known better. Anybody that travels, needs to have a preparation. You have to prep for things. You have to have money for emergencies. You have to have all this stuff in place. You have to be ready. I'm seeing too many people coming over here. Guess what? They're not prepped. And some people are embarrassed to talk about it. And then I know, I'll ask them and say, you guys have an emergency money? Do you have this? Do you have that? And well, I don't want to talk about that. So I know that they didn't prep. They just hopped on a plane, come over, backpack on their back, and get off the plane and figure, well, I'm going to live here. They're living on the low budgets. They're not prepared here. Living like that, you're preparing for utter failure over here. We talk about this quite a lot because it's so damn important to stress this with you guys. And I try to stress it more than ever now because of the sheer amount of people that we have coming in here. And I want to get into this preparation. You have to have that emergency fund. How much is a good emergency fund? $25,000 or more. At least start out here with $10,000 and put it someplace where it's going to grow. Someplace where like a good mutual fund or something like that. But you don't want to risk it too much. You want to put it in a safe mutual fund. With the stock market the way it is right now, roiling, not a good time to get in. Maybe it's a good time to get in at the bottom if it goes a little bit deeper than this here, because the growth will be phenomenal when it comes back. So maybe it could be the time, as long as you got another $10,000 or $15,000, so you can let that sit for a while and let the stock market do its thing and work its way out of there. Now, if we go into World War III, which there's a lot of talk about World War III, and I don't want to really get people upset out there, but it's something that could happen. We don't know what's going to happen in the future because you always have China and Russia in the mix out there, and that could throw stock markets even way off compared to where we are now. I think we could cut this in half even further, so another 50%. Now, could it happen? Would it happen? I'm thinking maybe it might. I think the Ukrainian thing is kind of falling apart for Russia right now. But I'm not so sure that China will stay out of this. I see China watching the sanctions work on Russia. And I'm hoping that's enough to scare them away. And I've watched a couple of videos on that saying that the sanctions are scaring China. It's looking more and more like they're going to stay away from Taiwan. Some people are saying, no, Steve, they're going to go into Taiwan. Well, maybe they will. That's a good possibility too. But I think they're watching the sanctions against Russia and they're saying, that's probably going to happen to us and it will sink our economy. And if China does do that, I think it's going to be 10 times harder because the United States is not going to let a major maker of silicon wafers, which is Taiwan, get taken over. It's not going to happen. We need those things. So Taiwan is something that we need. And, China will cut us off from anything that we need over there. And they also have a lot of the rare earths. China owns most of the rare earth companies, even in the United States. So, if we get in a war with China, we better have a huge rare earth stockpile to make weaponry and to be ready for anything that can happen. So there's a lot of things going into play here, and that's the scary part. But we have to be prepped over here. You have to be ready for all this stuff. And let me get into the next thing you have to get into. Not only do you have to have an emergency fund, you need the startup fund. The startup fund is key. People say, well, Steve, what do I need a startup fund for? I'm going to go into a furnished apartment. Whether you go into a furnished apartment or not, you need money for a microwave. Don't think that you're going to go in there and your landlord's going to cover all this stuff. We had a guy come over here. He was on a lower budget, and the lady said that she was going to furnish the apartment for him. Meaning furnish. You know, it doesn't mean you're going to have a smart TV. It doesn't mean you're going to have a microwave in there. And it doesn't mean you're going to have a blender or whatever else, you know, you want. Because some of the people that are coming over here are asking the landlords for this stuff, and these people are poor. They're not going to stick all this stuff inside your thing because you want that. They're going to end up charging you more. And some of these people, Filipinos have a hard time saying no because they're accommodating people. But what they'll do is they'll say yes, and then later on they'll think about it and say, I didn't want to tell the guy, but you know, I'm not going to get all that stuff. Because they're afraid. They're afraid to make you feel bad because they're accommodating and welcoming people. And expats can be very pushy sometimes. So then they come back to the apartment later on to look at it, to get ready to move in, and all the stuff's not in there. And then they flip out on the landlord, and they tell the landlord, well, where's this? How come I didn't get a smart TV? How come you only got me a 19-inch TV when I wanted a 32-inch smart TV? How come you didn't put up cabinets for me? How come you didn't do this? You know, if they're charging you 20 or 30 or 40 extra dollars for a furnished apartment, or even $100 more for a furnished apartment, do you think they're going to put all that money in there for you? Because they don't know when you're going to move out. And then some of these people, they don't even want to sign a long-term lease, but yet they want all this stuff in there. Well, the landlord has no guarantee that when they take that place back, that all that stuff isn't going to be damaged somehow. They don't know. They don't know you from a hole in the wall. And guess what? Your security is not going to cover that stuff. So they have to worry about that stuff. And that's why it's best for you to put that stuff in. If you stay there for a year or two, you're going to get your money's worth. It's a few extra bucks to buy a microwave or a smart TV or whatever else you need, a blender or what have you. Just go spend the extra few bucks, and you're going to save yourself that on your rent. But most people just can't fathom that. I struggle to think that expats can't understand that sometimes. I have so many people writing back to me saying, Steve, why would you put money in those apartments? Why would you do that? Because you save in the long term. And a lot of people are saying, well, Steve, they can kick you out of there the next day. No, not if you have a lease. Well, then they say, well, Steve, you know, they can kick you out no matter what because you don't have any rights in the Philippines. That's not true. It's not true. Get your facts straight, people. You know, a lot of these people that are talking this stuff don't even live here. They've never been here, and they start talking all this smack about all this different stuff. And I get kind of upset about that a little bit because it is upsetting to hear people that have been here once, visited for a month, and think that they know everything about the Philippines. They don't. And that's why sometimes in the comment sections, sometimes when I'm screening the comments, and I do screen the comments because I don't want people to think that what these people are writing out there is true, because it's not true. So I don't let those comments go up because I just don't think it's worth confusing new expats over here. Because if you hear something 10 times from 10 different people that don't know what they're talking about, usually you're going to start believing it. You know, and that's the problem. So repetitive expat supposed know-it-alls out there, they're a little bit louder than the ones that make sense and try to help people. And those are the ones that a lot of people believe because they put out all this false information. And I just want people to start thinking, and that's why I kind of put out the information that I put out there, because I want you guys having the right information. I want you to have correct information. Be careful who you listen to. I'm not always right. I'm not 100% right. I'll tell you straight out, I'm not 100% right, okay? But the information that I give you is from what I've seen, what I've learned, and, you know, I'm giving you the best information I can possibly give you, and that's feet on the ground information coming directly from me and from my heart. I'm not going to lie to you or anything like that, but I don't want you guys to get false information. Anyway, guys, remember, when you come over here, be safe. Have money in the bank. Have a safe amount coming in. Make sure you're ready, you're prepped, you're prepared. Don't come over here not prepared. You got to be prepared. Preparation is everything living in the Philippines. If you don't prep, you're prepping to fail. Come over here with enough money in your pocket, a safety net. And a lot of people are saying, Steve, would like to get something like a checklist, okay? A checklist is easy to do. If you watch my videos, you could come up with your own. Each person is different. I can't tell you, I can give you like a basic checklist probably, but you know what? A checklist is something you got to do. You come up with your own checklist, what you need. It's pretty simple. I did it. You just got to kind of do your research. Could I do it for you? I've been asked to do that several times, to do checklists for people. And I say, I don't know what your situation is. I don't know your income. So I can't come up with a budget or a checklist or anything. And a lot of people don't want to tell me that stuff. So I can't make a checklist for you people, because my checklist is going to be different than your checklist. My lifestyle is going to be different than your lifestyle. So I can't compare, enough stuff to write one for you guys. And I wish I could write one. I could probably write a basic one, but then something for you to build off of. But even that might not be enough, or somebody might get confused or something, and they might have something that they might not put in there, and then come back to me and say, well, hey, Steve, it says on your checklist this here amount, and that's what I did, and now I'm without money. Because that's the way people work, and I don't want to stick my neck out there and have somebody come back at me later on and say, hey, Steve, you said 10,000 was safe, or 25,000 was safe, or 50,000 was safe, for me to come over, to have in my emergency fund, and look where I'm at now. You see what I'm saying? But there's people that have health issues. There's people that have other issues that could come into play, and they may need more. And these are the people that I worry about when they come over here, because I don't think that they belong here. And some people come over here and they think, well, I'm going to start out with 5,000 or 4,000 for an emergency fund, and that'll be enough. It's probably not going to be enough. I'll be honest, it's just not going to be enough. So be careful, guys. Think, use your head before you come here. Prep. It took me 4 years of prepping. I look back at how easy my transformation was when I got off the plane to getting adjusted here. Like that. Because I was prepped. Most of the people that have come in here that we've helped, we've got them prepped. Like, as soon as they got here, we prepped them even more. But they were prepped when they got here on the ground. They had everything ready to roll. We just helped them get into their places, get their places up and rolling, get their Wi-Fi, get their electric, or whatever else they need, get their food into their place so that they're ready. And sometimes we can help them, sometimes we can't. So you have to be able to learn to help yourself sometimes, because we're not always available, or we get busy or something happens. So, but if you move into our area, we're there for you 100%. And the other expats will be too. That's what the community's about. Anyway, guys, God bless. Take care.